Welcome to Trading Lounge and the Bitcoin report for Friday, September the 17th. And this is the weekly chart here. And the reason for showing this is that the move that we had moving down here on the weekly chart last week was on higher volume. And the move that we've got this week moving up is on lower volume. Obviously, it's not the end of the week. And I do need to check. I think obviously the Bitcoin charts would work from Monday to Sunday, wouldn't they? Because 24 hours sort of thing. I'll just need to sort of clarify that with platforms. But yeah, the weekly's got this sort of stochastics. Not that I'm big on indicators, but you know, it's kind of swim between the flags sort of thing. Not that good for trading them. And you know, when they flatline like this, it all means is that they just, as soon as we make, so if that's a high here, as soon as we make a high here, that's all they do. They just flatline. So you need to take them up to the next degree of structure, like monthly or something at that point. So anyway, that indicators are another story. Once you understand how they're calculated, you can just basically see it in the price. You don't need them, but yeah, people like to see them, so I show them now and again. I just use the stochastics because it kind of works well with Elliott Wave, the guy that invented it, George Lane, and his grandfather, I think. They got the formula for putting how much aluminium into metal. And George was he died about 15 years, probably 20 years ago now, gee, time goes, but he was an intraday trader on the S&P 500 and just used the stochastics. Look, wave A here, wave B here, wave C here, wave 4 can also be over here. There's a game for that as well. Today we're going to have a look at the intraday count in this corrective, in this rally that's moving up through here, and we're going to have a look at some other counts that are possibilities. But with all my counting is that I will not be bullish unless I have that 50,000 as the support. And I have a particular way of developing support on a level, so we need that there to be in place. So let's just go through quickly some of the possible counts to the upside. I'll just hold this down here, and at the end of the video we'll have a look at the intraday pattern within this here and what that entails. So first of all, the pattern that I would need to turn bullish would need to be this pattern here. So it would be the arrival, the reaction, the first high above the level, which we have. We've got the arrival, the reaction, the first high above the level. So we've got that high above the level. And then we normally have the ABC pattern. So we could look at this as the ABC pattern, all of this really, and just go straight up from there. And I'll be looking at a count for that today as well. So yeah, that's that. So we could look at all of this as wave 1 and 2 from this point. The way that this has landed is not that nice, but we have seen this particular rally off this pattern. And this pattern here, really, this large pattern here, this one in here is just a smaller version of that. And this rally that we're having at the moment is like this rally here. So it's basically they're going to be meeting each other shortly in that, you know, this is a small version here. The whole thing here is a version of this bigger one here, if you like, you know. So it's all, they're just they're fractals in that regard. So not that that leads into any sort of answers at a particular point, but it's just sort of interesting to look at. So this is the one count here on the 2-day, nothing special about the 2-day. This is the other count here where we're looking at 5 waves down here, an A and a B and a C for the B wave, and looking for a C wave here. And it could also be wave 3 as well. I mean, you know, really in terms of history of the Bitcoin, this is a very shallow retracement. You know, most of them sort of average around 80%, which would be further down, you know. So yeah, there's all sorts of supports here. There's the old high at, you know, 20-odd thousand way back in the, you know, from the 2017 thing. There's good support at 15,000 and 14,000, all sorts of things. But we don't know if we're going to get this yet. We don't know if we're going this way or we're going that way. So there's more work to be done on all of that. Even if we pull down to the 40,000, we have a count for that as well, where it can move back up from that point. So we need to be mindful of that. So everything is at this stage is a step by step. It's not like we are in a trend here and we're buying pullbacks, you know, and we can count where we are within the impulse structure. It's not, yeah. Anyway, we're in a wave. We're all of this is a corrective pattern and possibly a wave 4, and they can get very complicated. So we just got to be ever diligent, and yeah. So anyway, enough waffling. Let's just move in. I did have another count here on this one here, which I haven't shown before as well. So it's not so much the expanded flat thing. We've seen all that before, but this one here, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 here, because it's pulled back 38.2%. So in this case, we would have one more high here as wave 1, and then an ABC pattern here, because we can squeeze the 5 waves in this particular move here, and it has pulled back to its thing. So in this case, it's interesting because, you know, we've been talking about a move up here and then, you know, pulling back down at that point. Now down to here or down to here, that's another question. But this particular count takes us higher. It takes us, you know, another high above the level here will take us up to the 78.6% retracement level, and then have a pull down here. So I kind of like this one as well, and we'll know in due course how this one is going out. We'll probably know in a session or two if we're going to be pushing up through that, and we'll talk about that when we talk about the intraday. So there you have it. There's a bit of variety on things. We can just move back into the, I'm not sure what I've done on the intraday basis. We've kind of been working on the on this trend here. You know, we've been long in the trend, and we traded up to 48. We've gotten out of this point, so we need to understand that. But the basic thing we've been looking at here, well, a couple of ways we could look at this, and I'll just want to go over them. One is that we look at this straight line down here as the A wave, and then an A and 3 waves for the B. I'm not worried about the spike too much. The A wave and ABC here, that all counts nicely like that, and then a wave C up here. I can count 5 waves to this point right on this dot here, but we'll need to investigate this, and if it pushes up, then we'll be probably pushing up further. But anyway, we'll get to all of that in a moment. The other way that this can be counted is that we can look at this as, I think I need to go, I don't know if it's on the 2-hour chart, you'll have to apologize for me. Okay, yeah, but I'll probably need to label them better. But 1 and 2 and 3 here count okay as, and then an A and a B and a C and a D and an E wave here for wave 4, and down for wave 5, having this wave 4 here. Well, not so much that wave 4. We could also look at this wave 4 as we looked at on the daily chart with this wave 4 here. Not that it matters that much, but in that case, we would want to see this move up here, and we'd want to look at I'll just borrow these actually. We'll look at this as wave 1 here, and wave 2 coming back, and 3 here, and 4 here, and 5 here, making that top 4. We just put this as wave 5 here. Sure, it could be the other wave 5. It doesn't really matter at this point in time. I will make that a bit small. Looks a little bit unprofessional and clumsy, and I don't want to look unprofessional. So yeah, this can be, you know, played out here for this in this regard. So in this case here, once we get our 5 waves here, if we're going to get them, then we would look for simply an ABC pattern to come back, which would stay within group 1 and group 2 here, I'd imagine, and then push up. And then it's at this point there that we can, you know, really start to go to town on this, and this is where we would be leaving the 50,000 and cruising much higher at that point. So that would be part of the support on the 50,000. It's another way to look at all of this. So yeah, and I suppose we should just go in and have a bit of a look at this now. And yes, so for that we need to go to the tick chart. Just check on the hourly. No, there's nothing here that can do. So just go to the 100 ticks where we've been working. We'll bring in some more data. Is 10 enough? Yeah, 10's good. And as you know, we got the first little impulse wave here, so we label that wave 1 and 2, and we look to go long at this point, and we look to get out at 48. 8,000 because 8's a profit-taking number, and we can see that occurring. So I've counted it here. I've gone through all of this as 1 and 2 because we had all that labelled, but I've used those labelling up here further. And then we looked at this. Let's just open this up a little bit more. We've got some time because it's kind of important to get this right. We've got this as 1 and 2 and 1, 2, well, all of that here as 3 and 4, and then 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, and third wave, fourth wave. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for 1 and 2, and then 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 for the third wave, and the A, the B, and the C for the fourth, and then up for the fifth. So, in fact, if we looked at the market, the total, called the total that got the 25, would put that as the high, but it's just taking that out a little bit there, which is, yeah. So anyway, that's just another little sort of question there. You can see that in this case it does take out that high there, but this is a CFD platform, so I don't trust those guys. But let's just have a look at, I was looking at total, and this is it here on total. Here you can see that, and this is the high, not that high here. So in this case I could call this down for 1 here, and A, B, and C for wave 2 here, and then down for 3, 4, and 5 here. So I could look at this as wave 1 here, back for wave 2, down for wave 1, and A, B, C back for wave 2 there, and then looking at this as 1 and 2, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the third wave, fourth wave, and fifth wave. So really I could look at this as bearish. I could also look at this here as, well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the A wave here, the B wave here, and the C wave here. So I could look at this as all of the A wave here, a B wave here, and then a C wave here. So I can look at it in both ways. So if I looked at it as a bearish pattern, then I could look at this here as from this one here to, if I looked at it as a bearish pattern, I'd have to look at it like this. So we're currently at the 61.8% here now for that. It looks like we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for 1 and 2, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it could move up a little bit higher and roll over. It could move up. If it was going to move up there, that would all be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. So it'd have to move. It would come back up into this supply. So it'll be coming back up into the 78.6 at this point. So what I'm trying to do here is just sort out, do we, this particular top here that we can count 5 waves to, do we look at this 5 waves as a wave 1 and we're coming back for wave 2 and going higher? Or do we look at this here as a bearish pattern, as down for 1, back for 2, down for 1, back for 2, down for 1, back for 2, and the rallies are always been quite high, so they're quite high in this case. So we could expect this to go up higher. So if we looked at this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for 1 and 2 here, then 1, 2, 3. So we could expect this to be here. We could expect 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, somewhere like that. But what we don't want to see in this case is we don't want to see it. It's hard to count. I can't count it as 5 waves from this top down to this bottom. That's just not going to work. So what I could say is that on the bearish side, if the market went above that high here, right? If the market went above that, if I can get my fingers working properly, if it breached that there, then this pattern would become bullish at that point. Let's just have a quick look at BTC on the same thing as well. Let's just double check a thing. Okay, so that's, you can see that, yeah, right, which is the top there, eeny, meeny, miny, mo kind of thing, isn't it? Better to look at the pattern sometimes. When you're looking at the pattern, you kind of got to look at, well, you got to ask yourself, is that 5 waves to that point? And I would say, yep. So I would look at this as down for 1 here, an A and a B and a C here as total. So I would do the same thing here. I'd look at that as 1 and 2 and then 3, 4, 5. So we can look at this here as, an A, B, C here for that. We'd probably want to drop that down to, where would we go? Maybe, I'll just drop it to there for the moment. And then this one here is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. So we can look at this here as an A, B, C to this point. And then we would need to look at this here as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 to that point. So in the bigger picture, still needs to take out that top, you know. that would be the deciding factor. So we can just bring this, I'll just draw a line there, probably not the straightest, but where does that's 48, let's just get a better picture there, that's 48,250. Let's say if the market goes through that, then we can look at this particular pattern here, that's this top that we've been talking about. If that's taken out, right, 48,250, if that's taken out, then we're bullish at that point, right? Would be bullish at that point. But otherwise, anything under that will be still considered, I can't really, can we? Because if I looked at this as one, I mean, just the fact that this C wave here has taken out the top there, it does look rather bullish, I have to say. I'm trying to get I try to do my best to get a bearish pattern, and I try to do my best to get a bullish pattern, and then that way I feel like I don't have my head stuck in the sand, you know. Unless unless we do use that as the top, then that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. There's an overlap on 4, so it's a bit of a problem, but still. Okay, I think we'll still just run with that just in case, you know, because like just making the whole decision based off something that close is not that good. So let's just be a little bit reasonable. Let's take that. And this is the 78.6 here at the 48,000. Well, we know that the market's going to struggle here at the 48 here because 8's a profit-taking number. And it's kind of where it was support and it's struggled to maintain. It's rechecked it here. Maybe it's checking it once again and drop. So really the short trade here, when we'll come back to it, is this low here. So I'll go back to my other charting program, and what we can say here, if the market takes out this high, then we're bullish. If it takes out this low here, then we're bearish at that point. And of course the 48 here is important. The other levels here is that, well, in this area, we're in group 2, so 46,500. We've talked about that many times. And then this is just the 72 here, which we can just call it the 47. It's not a biggie. But if the 4650 becomes the retest of resistance, then we're down at that level. So I would be looking to build short trades on this side. If we're going to go up higher here, we'd probably need to be a little bit careful, you know, because it kind of looks like a wave 4 here, all of this, the way that it's left us with 3 waves here. It's not like a wave 1 top with a wave 2 pullback. So maybe I've made a mistake in here, if anybody else has got another count. So what we could do, I mean, I wouldn't go long, like I said, unless we had that 50,000 as the support. So even if this went up through here, we would look for 5 waves up here. Now it may just go to the 61.8%, or it may go up to the 50 here. But in one way or another, we would look for this. If it was going to be 5 waves, we would look for that 5 waves, and then anything after that, then we can start to build into the long trade. Just in case I've made a mistake here, I'll go back and check my work that a wave 4 needs to sit here and a wave 5 needs to sit over here, wherever that may be, on top of the 61.8% after 5 waves here. So all of this can be over here. That would be to be sure at that point. I wonder what we can see from Ethereum. This is Ethereum here. See, I've done the same thing here as well. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for 1 and 2 here. Then I've got 1 and 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Bit dodgy on the fourth, but best fit, and 5 for the third. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then here we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for 1 and 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the third. And then we've got the fifth of the fifth of the third and the fourth and the fifth. So to me, that counts okay as 5 waves, you know. I can see with this here that, so it wouldn't be this wave 4, it wouldn't be that, I don't need that one. If I've made a mistake, it would have to be this wave 4, but because this would be, that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to here, so that's like an A wave, and then the B wave, and then the C wave here. Unless we count it down as 1 and 2 and 1 and 2, and 1 and 2, once again, it's pretty much taken, for it to be bullish, it needs to take that wave B out there. Otherwise, it can just fold to the downside. And in this case, we'd look for, we can't count the whole lot down as 5 waves, it just doesn't work, but we can use this 5 wave structure, which is at the 50-60% here anyway, so if that was going to fold. So if you're going to short, is that 5 waves there? Look at 1 and 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5. So yeah, I mean, if you're going to short, you could short under that wave 2 there, because that would be a B wave if it was the corrective wave there. So you could short at that point. That shouldn't be breached. Just take it down a little bit shorter, a little bit lower, just so it's no big deal at that point. This is still building to the upside though. This is 1 and 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's all of a third wave in here, fourth. So that's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's all of the third wave, 1 and 2 and 3. And this is maybe an A and a B and a C here. I'm not really sure. So that should just, this should be wave 1. I don't know, have to split in hairs there, but they should just continue to push up. So, yeah, so anyway, we're getting sort of close. So taking that top out there gives us a sort of a possibility of a bigger bullish count, you know, because that would here, if I've counted 5 waves from up here, I mean, the only mistake I could sort of see myself making here is where this wave 1 is here. I'd put that on top there. And then the wave 2 would be here, and then all of this is wave 3 here, and then the wave 4 here, and the wave 5 to move up. That was the only mistake I could make. That's what it looks like if I've made a mistake, you know. So I think what I'll do is just wait for this 5 wave structure here to complete, and then anything after that, if it builds from that point and takes that top out, then we know we've definitely got a bigger bullish picture going on. And if it fades from here, then we know that we've got that top in place there. Because Ethereum is the same as the others, you know. I don't know the best chart to look at. I don't know what I've updated, but what's this? Yeah, same story here. But this is where it kind of becomes interesting, because let's just say for a moment that this 5 wave structure that we got here is correct. Well, then this little pullback in here, in the bigger picture of I'll have to go to Bitcoin now. Yeah, this little pullback in here is really like not even that. It's back over. Yeah, it's like this here. But this, all of this here is like this here, and then this here, this move up here is this move going up through here. So it's not going to give me any leading answers. They're just going to be recurring patterns. So we don't. The trouble is we don't know this is going to go down. We don't know that. We don't know if that's an A wave here, or we don't know that. We don't know yet. But they're certainly the same patterns. But anyway, just to recap everything, just here is that I could only turn bullish if the 50,000 became the support. There's two ways that it can do that. We could have this is a wave 4 here, moving up to make a wave 5 up here, and then having an ABC pattern here, or it comes back down to this point and then moves back up at that point. So yeah, I wouldn't be adding to my positions unless I had something of that nature there, because the risk to the downside is still in the air as well, this one here. So we don't know this. And even this little 5 waves that I've counted up here, if I've made a mistake and there's one more little high, then so be it. So, but we need to gather more evidence for that. But if it does make it, we've counted pretty clearly that there's 5 waves up here. So any further highs here would be a good basis that the wave falls in, and we would be looking for 5 waves to move up here. And if that's the case, we would have a ABC back anyway, and that's where I would be getting in over here. I'd allow all that to play out. I want to be sure that we're on the right track at that point. I don't want to be adding here when there's still the possibility of a bearish move coming into play. Alrighty, sorry to make the video so long, but that's where we are. That's where we are in terms of the patterns in my interpretation. Alrighty, cheers.